So if you're wondering how you're going to sell to anybody this year, then I've got a little something for you that's going to help you figure out how the hell do I make people care about the things that I want to sell to them. I call this the Issue, Challenges and Opportunities framework. And it's one of the main frameworks that we use at Revenue Funnel to help sales teams and go-to-market teams in general understand the needs of their prospects and customers, all right? So let's get into it. We're just going to call it ICO because Issues, Challenges and Opportunities is like, it's a bit of a mouthful. So we're going to call it ICO. So ICO. I like circles, boxes, and processes, so you're going to get used to this. Now, I stands for issues, C stands for challenges, and O stands for opportunities. An issue is referring to something in an organization that's fundamentally broken. So here's a scenario. A company has a big goal, and they have a desired outcome that they want to reach. If there's an issue that's blocking them, it effectively means they can't reach that outcome at all. So there's something blocking them in their business, it's broken, and it stops them from meeting that outcome. And that means that they have to solve it as fast as possible. Now, a challenge is usually a hurdle or an obstacle inside that. So inside the organization. So if you think about it, there's a scenario where, again, here's the business, they're over here, and there's an outcome that they're trying to reach. Now, there's an obstacle in there that means a process or a system or a thing or a team that are responsible for delivering that outcome. There's a hurdle there, there's a blocker. They can't do it in a smooth way. Now, they can usually, it can be achieved, but maybe it's a bit slower. There's a bit more friction, it's taking longer, it's more expensive. There's a lot of companies that are in this state. Now, an opportunity is something that a company hasn't quite seen, they haven't really visualized, but they have a desired outcome. And it's like this new idea, new concept or new thing that they want to grab hold of in order to get them to that, that desired outcome. And it's not proven, but it sounds pretty sexy. Now, here's the thing with issues, challenges, and opportunities. With an issue, remember, something is fundamentally broken. And with it being broken, it has to be fixed. So there's a certain level of urgency that is required in order to address that. So when we're talking about the needs inside an organization, our goal is to really get to the companies that have issues. Now, the thing here is that most companies that have issues are already proactively out there trying to figure out how do they solve for it, because it can't last that long. If you have a car and it has no fuel, you can't go anywhere. So you're going to try and solve that as quickly as possible. But if you've got a car and the tank's like half empty, you're like, to be fair, I've got a few more miles. Oh, I should top up soon, but it can last a bit longer. So issues are people, they're already out there. They're proactively looking at vendors. Now, these are the people who we get really excited about, but we're missing something that's really key. It's if they're proactively going out to find solutions, that means they're already talking to different vendors and suppliers, and their thought processes are already being framed around how they should be thinking about the problem, how compelling it is, the cost of action, the cost of inaction. And they're just gonna, usually if they've done enough research, just go with price. They're like, I just need something right now. There's loads of things that they will consider, but price will come into it if there's a real level of urgency. So, moving on, issues, the most urgency. I'm gonna write urgency down here. Okay, so if we put urgency on a spectrum, art wasn't my thing, by the way. All right, so issues, fundamentally broken, the most urgency, buyers are out, they're trying to figure it out. Next bucket is challenges. Remember, challenges are things inside an organization that are just creating barriers or hurdles or obstacles towards reaching a desired outcome. So the thing here is that most people just learn to live with challenges. They find workarounds, they'll go inside their organization, they'll ask their friends, their family, their kids, their grandma, their aunties, their uncles, anything they can to just not have to spend too much energy, time, effort, resources in figuring it out. So our job as go-to-market teams is to figure out how long can this business sustain this challenge? At what point does it break? And I made a video a long time ago about a phone charger. And here's the example, right? So you've got a phone charger, like, I don't know, this is a computer charger, but we're just going to pretend it's a phone charger. Now, you've got a phone charger, and if it's broken and your phone's not charging, that's an issue. You jump online, you buy a charger. But if it's frayed a little bit, you're looking at it like, I know this is going to break at some point, but it still works. My phone's still charging. There's no real issue with it. Now, unless someone comes into the mix and says, hey, we know that there's a big risk to having a charger that's got frayed wires and, it's not protected anymore, and 1 in 10 people get electrocuted. All of a sudden, that challenge becomes a little bit more of an issue. So we want to understand at what point in a buying organization, in a decision-making unit, that challenge actually becomes something that is an issue, fundamentally broken, high risk, causing problems inside their organization. Because that's when people start to pay attention to it. All right, so that's the next thing. So issue, broken, fix it now. Challenge, I can kind of just, maintain it. We'll see. And then the next thing is an opportunity. So opportunities are really where a lot of our solution products and services sit. So it usually feels like a nice to have for a prospect where they're like, it would be great if I had AI and it could help me write more emails. And it would be great if it could help to query some customer problems, but I've got a team. They answer all the questions. Why do I need AI? Right? So opportunities are things that haven't been proven yet, but they seem exciting and they seem new and innovative as a way to approach a desired outcome. So a company's got something that's happening and they're like, I've got an outcome. There's all these different ways to approach it. This opportunity seems great, but I'm not too sure. So it's got the lowest level of urgency, and it's the hardest to get a prospect to kind of address and approach because they don't feel compelled to do anything. So you have to think about at what point can we make that opportunity feel like something that's like, there's something here which we're going to miss out on something. There's like a cost of inaction. If we're not taking advantage of AI today as a buying organization, maybe it's going to become a challenge because all platforms are going to start to use AI, and now my internal team are not familiar with the technology, and there's a lot of fear, and people are going to become technophobes. Like, whatever you can do to help that buyer realize that if you don't grab hold of that opportunity, it will become a challenge at some point. And then there's going to be things in your business that's just fundamentally broken because guess what? You didn't take advantage of that opportunity. Now, the challenge that we have as go-to-market teams is there's just not that much urgency behind it. So now you're thinking, the question was, what can I do to help people care about and maybe buy the products and services that I have in my business? Well, we have to do a better job at understanding what is, and let's go to the page. We have to do a better job of understanding over here, right? People say future state. Let's just call it desired outcome. So desired, this is not a good idea. Desired outcome, right? So we've got desired outcome. I should have just written that sideways, but you get the drift, right? So desired outcomes all the way over here, and people call it the future state. But I think a future state is too broad. Like, what is the thing and the outcome that a company wants after they make this change? And then they're over here, okay? Now they've got this route for how they're going to get to that desired outcome. And then there's all these ICOs just popping up everywhere, right? And we need to figure them out because those are the things that are stopping them or not from getting to that desired outcome. So as a go-to-market person, I'm like, what are you trying to achieve? How have you been thinking about achieving that? And what does that look like? Because you need to identify what all of those eyes look like across their teams, across their processes, across their systems, and also in their strategy. Now remember, a strategy is a plan. So what in their plan is fundamentally broken based on where they're at, and you can help surface that by asking them the right questions. What in their plan, where can you see challenges, hurdles, things that they may not be able to see themselves based on your experience? And where are the opportunities? Where are the opportunities for them that you're like, if they did grab that, that could improve things for them? Or which opportunities are they not paying enough attention to? So that's how we start to take them from here, where they're at the status quo, current state. We understand the things, the pathways that could potentially get them to that desired outcome, and we help them solve those things along their journey. Now, again, if we put the buyer journey into the mix, which is the thing that you need to become an expert at, right? We're trying to figure out, okay, so where are you, Mr. or Mrs. Prospect, in your own understanding of all of these issues, challenges, and opportunities? or this need that you have in your organization. And they may say, I don't know, I'm in the middle. So we could say, what is that, like a 4 or 5? And they're like, yeah, do you mean 4 or 5? You're like, well, out of 10? Like, if you were looking at it on a scale of 1 to 10, they say, well, yeah, we're in the middle. We're just really like, we're figuring it out. We're trying to work out which direction we're going to take. Now we know that they're at that stage that we speak about all the time, which is consideration stage, where they're trying to look at their options. We're trying to figure out, okay, so what does that look like with their issues, challenges, and opportunities at this stage now? And how do we adapt our style and what we're doing to help them assess their needs? So there's this constant like roller coaster of issues, challenges, opportunities, and things happening in the business that they're trying to address proactively or sit latent that they're not really understanding the impact of that can affect the goals, desires, and objectives they have and their desired outcomes. So the issue, challenges, opportunity framework is your way as a go-to-market team member of figuring out how do I understand the needs of my prospects? How do I adapt my style in how I'm going to support them based on the urgency of their needs and where they're at and the issues, challenges, and opportunities there? And then what more can I do to understand where they are in their buyer journey so I can facilitate and support them in the right ways? All right?